Here it is, the first chapter in the second book in the Shiloh series. This one, Shiloh Season, Chapter 1. After Shiloh come to live with us, two things happened. One started out bad and ended good. And the other started out good and, well, let me tell you the way it was. Most everybody near friendly West Virginia, they know how Judd Travers treats his dogs and how he bought this new little beagle to help him hunt. And how this beagle, he kept running away from Judd's kicks and his curses. Ran to me. They know the story how I hid the dog in a pen that I made for him in our woods up there, and I named him Shiloh. Judd, he just calls his dogs cuss words. And everybody in Tyler County, almost, they heard how a German Shepherd jumped into the pen and tore up Shiloh. Oh, he tore him up something awful. And then my secret was out. My dad drove Shiloh over to Doc Murphy, and he sewed him up and he helped him live. And then, because my friend David Howard has the biggest mouth from here to Sisterville, most everybody knows how I worked for Judd Travers for 2 weeks so that I could earn that dog. So, he's mine. Mine and Ma's and Dad's and Darlene's and Becky's. We all love him, so he can hardly stand it sometimes. His tail wags so hard you figure it's about to fly off. Anyway, the thing that started out bad but ended good was that I promised Doc Murphy I'd pay him every cent that we owed him for fixing up Shiloh. I looked for bottles and aluminum cans the whole rest of the summer, but I only earned $2.70. When I took it to Doc Murphy, though, so he could subtract it from our bill, he says I can work off the rest, same as I had worked for Judd. And next to Judd telling me I can have Shiloh for my own, that's the best news I'd heard in a long time. And now for the good part that turned bad. And then the worst. After figuring that everything's okay now between me and Judd Travers, he even gave me a collar for Shiloh. Judd starts drinking. Not that he didn't drink before, He got a belly on him like a watermelon sticking out over his belt buckle. But now, he's drinking hard. First time I know anything about it, I'm coming up the road from Doc Murphy's, and Shiloh's trotting ahead of me and sometimes behind, and that dog always finds something old that he's got to smell twice, or something new that he ain't smelled at all. And his legs can hardly get him there fast enough. I think he was down in the creek, and while I was working at Doc's, and he's trying to make like he was with me the whole time. Well, I'm following along. I'm thinking how happiness is a wet dog with a full stomach when I hear this truck coming up the road behind me, and I can tell by the sound that he's going faster than it should. My first thought, as I turn my head, is that if it don't slow down, it won't make the bend. And then I see it's Judd Travers' pickup. I take this flying leap into the field, and like I'm doing a belly flop in Middle Island Creek, and for a couple seconds, I can't even breathe. It's knocked the wind right out of me. So I watch the truck go off the road a couple of feet further on. Then it weaves back on in again, and then over to the other side, and then finally it starts slowing down for the bridge. Shiloh comes running back, licks my face to see if I'm all right. The question in my mind is did Judd try to run me over, or didn't he see me? He's that drunk. And if Shiloh had been behind me instead of front, would I be looking at a dead dog right now? Judd almost ran me over. I say that at night at supper.
He what?
Says Ma. I tell my folks what happened.
He do it on purpose?
Says Darylyn, counting out the pieces of ham on her plate. Want to make sure that she's got as many as Ma gave me. I say, I don't know. Ma looks at Dad.
This is serious, Ray.
Dad nods. I guess I've been hearing right then. They say Judd's been stopping off at a bar down near Ben's Run. Does his drinking nights and weekends. Ma's anxious.
You better keep off the road, Marty,
she says.
Yeah, and you too, Darylyn. You hear his truck coming, you give him plenty of room.
All he gonna do is get himself rested, I say. Why's he drinking so hard all of a sudden? Even I know that when a person does that, it means he's bothered.
Maybe he's thirsty,
says Becky, and we all laugh. Becky's 3. Darylyn laughs too, even though it's something that she might have said. Darylyn's 7. I'm 4 years older than that, and I'm supposed to set a good example for my sisters, says Ma, which is why it's so hard on my folks when they found out that I've been hiding Judd's dog. I've been hiding him up there in our woods.
I think Judd drinks 'cause he's unhappy,
says Ma. She smooths out the margin on her piece of cornbread and then takes a slow bite.
Maybe he misses Shiloh,
says Becky, trying again. I wish she had not said that.
Why? Asked Darylyn. He's got all those other dogs up there to keep him company.
Ma chews real thoughtful.
I think he looks in the mirror and he don't like what he sees, she says. The fact that his dog kept running away and coming to you, Marty, and the way he kept on, you kept on working for Judd, even though he called you a fool. I think it made him take a pretty hard look at himself, and it wasn't pretty.
Becky nods her head up and down.
Judd's not pretty,
she says, real serious, and we all laugh again. All this time, my dad has been breaking up his cornbread over his pile of beans, and then he eats it mixed together, and I notice he's the one not laughing. What's worrying me, says Dad, is that Judd's been hunting up in our woods, I think. Rabbits, I suppose. Found a beer can up there, the brand Judd drinks, and I heard a couple shots yesterday, same as last weekend.
Oh, we got those woods posted,
says Ma, meaning that we got signs all around the property saying that we don't allow any hunting. But, the poachers, they sneak in there sometimes anyways. Up in our woods and even in our meadow on the far side of the hill. Her gray eyes are fixed on Dad now.
Ray, you got to tell him. I don't want him up there drunk firing his gun off every which way. One of them bullets could end up down here.
I'll talk to him, Dad says. I'm real quiet then. In fact, I'm through with the beans on my plate. I've been thinking about taking a second helping, but suddenly I'm not hungry anymore. So I go outside, sit on the steps. It's been real warm and dry for September. I like to catch a breeze. Shiloh comes over, he lays down beside me, his head on my leg. Then he takes this big, contented sigh, and he closes his eyes. What my folks don't know is, what nobody knows, except me and Judd, is how the way I got Judd to let me keep his dog was that I saw him shoot a deer out of season. A doe it was, too. And when he knew that I could report him to the game warden, and I would have too, he said I could keep Shiloh if I keep my mouth shut, about the doe. And I worked for him for 2 weeks, 2 solid weeks. I swear, Judd must have just laid awake at night thinking of the hardest, meanest jobs that he had for me to do, but I did them. Every one. So, a promise is a promise, even if I should not have made it in the first place. There wasn't any point in telling my secret now. Anyway, doe and all the traces of the killing, they were long gone. I leaned against the porch, the post there, and I stroked the top of Shiloh's head, smooth as corn silk. Here I thought now that Judd and me were almost, well, not quite, friends. You couldn't be real friends with a man like Judd Travers, but I wouldn't have to worry then anymore. But Ma says drink will make a person do things that he would never in this world thought he'd do. And you put a drink in Judd Travers, you got a bomb just waiting to blow up. He might not try to run over Shiloh or shoot him out of spite, but what if he's up in our woods hunting and Shiloh runs through? And what if Judd shoots at the first thing that moves? Oh. After supper, Dad comes out. He's carrying that beer can that he found in the woods. He puts it in the front seat of his Jeep, and then he climbs in and heads down the driveway. I watch the Jeep. I pause out by the road. Then it turns right, goes past the mill, crosses over the rusty bridge to the old Shiloh schoolhouse that's been closed as long as I can remember. And then after that, it's out of sight. And I know that in that 2 or 3 minutes, Dad'll pull up outside the trailer where Judd Travers lives. I listen. Yep. About 2 minutes later, way off in the distance, I hear Judd's dogs barking all over the place all at once, which means they hear the Jeep. All those dogs as mean as nails. Because the only time Judd don't let them be chained like that is when he takes them hunting. I figure that about the time Judd's looking out his window now. He's wondering who's driving up to see him here at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. Then he'll get up and he'll come to the door in his undershirt. Dad'll walk up the boards that serve as Judd's sidewalk, and they'll stand on Judd's steps there for a while and talk about what kind of weather and that we've been having, and all the apples, if they're going to be any good this fall, and when's the county going to fix that great big old pothole this side of the bridge. And finally, after they say all that, Dad'll show that beer can, and he'll say he's sure that Judd didn't mean to wander off out up in our woods when he was hunting. But Dad figures the beer can is his, and he's been hearing these shots. He surely would appreciate it, he'd say, if Judd would not hunt in our woods. Now, he don't like to make a fuss, Dad, but when a man's got children, he's got to look out for them. Boy, my mind can think up a dozen ways that Judd could answer back, none of them polite. But I don't let myself dwell on it. I'm running my hand over Shiloh's head now, real slow. I can tell he likes it, because if Shiloh was a cat, he'd purr. Becky comes out to sit beside me. She pulls her dress way up and let the cool air fan her belly. You shouldn't do that, Becky, I'll tell her. You got to start teaching them young, or she's likely to be down there in some place like Sisterville and not even think twice about it. Why? Says Becky, smart-like, pushes her face right up against mine. Oh, 'cause it's not ladylike. To show your underpants, that's why, I tell her. I figure that's how Ma would say about it. Well, Daryl in now. She's out on the porch now. She's eating a handful of cornbread crumbs, and she hears what I say to Becky. I can tell by her eyes she's up to mischief. She wipes her hands on her shorts. She sticks her thumbs down inside the elastic band and starts snapping it as hard as she can. Snap, snap, snap the elastic on her shorts and her underpants both, just to rile me. Of course, Becky laughs, and now she's doing it too. Both of them snapping away at their underpants in a wild fit of giggles. Girl children are the strangest people in the world. Sometimes. But then I hear the Jeep, and it's coming back. Darylyn, she hears it too. She stops being crazy. Finally, Becky gives up, and then we all watch Dad's Jeep. It's the one he delivers the mail in. Coming across the bridge again, up the road, and turns into our driveway. Ma comes out on the porch, her hands resting on her hips. "Well," she says as Dad gets out, "what'd he say?" Dad don't answer for a moment. He just walks over to the house, throws the beer can into the trash barrel. "Might be a good idea if our kids don't play up there in the woods for a while," he says. Ma stares after him as he goes inside. That's the end of chapter 1. Stay tuned for further chapters. See you later.